Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So real quick, I should mention a Facebook group. It's called Marvel and DC Fun Facts. It's a pretty good page and it's got lots of members and I like it a lot, and I'll have a link for it in the description box. So today I am continuing my series of reviews by taking a look back at Countdown number 41. Countdown, known as Countdown to Final Crisis for its last 24 issues, was a comic book limited series published by DC Comics, and it debuted on May 9th, 2007. Since this is a countdown, the story order for the numbering is backwards, so you start with issue 51 and read down to issue number 1, which is what I have been doing so far. And issue 41 is written by Paul Dini and Adam Beechan. The pencils and inks both are by Dennis Calio, and the colors are by Guy Major, and the letters are by Travis Lanham. Now the cover is by Terry and Rachel Dodson with Moose Bauman. The cover, starting off, is pretty cool. I like it. I'm just a fan of Terry and Rachel Dodson's art anyway, but this is a good cover, and it's in the last issue we saw Piper and Trickster here fell out of an airplane, so this is a good indicator that this comic picks up where the last one left off. And that's exactly what happens, so be sure to either read these previous issues or check out my reviews of the previous issues. And you can find them in the video section, and I'll have a link to the issue before this one in the description box. So starting out on the first page, we see Piper and Trickster falling from their jet just like on the cover. And not only are they falling, but they are tethered together, and if they get too far apart, they get shocked. So there's a whole backstory as to why this is happening, which is why you have to check beforehand. But basically they thought they were escaping from like a truck or a van or something, and when they went out the door, it turned out they were falling from an airplane. So we go to the next page, and they're falling, and they're basically trying to figure out what they're going to do, and they keep getting zapped because they get a little bit too far apart. So it turns out, let's see, Trickster had grabbed a bag on his way out the door just cause it was like his instinct, and they realize that the bag has their stuff in it, so they start digging through it. And it's kind of funny because the Trickster's just throwing things out that he doesn't need, and Piper's like, hey, watch what you're tossing around, that's my flute, and he catches it before they lose it. And then Trickster says, yes, my flying boots, I can't put both of them on chained like this and holding this bag, but if you wear one, then I'll wear the other. So they put the boots on, and it doesn't stop them, but they are able to slow themselves enough so they don't die when they hit the ground. And then on top of it, they actually hit the water, so they were quite lucky about all that. And they splash into the water, and we go to the next page, and it's Jimmy Olsen. If you haven't been following along, he has superpowers for some reason. We haven't found out why yet. So he has decided to take on a superhero mantle for himself, and he's wearing his little outfit there, and he's going to go by the name of Mr. Action, which, I don't know, it's kind of a lame superhero name, I think. But anyways, we go to the next page, and Jimmy is at work now at the Daily Planet, and it's a really hot day, and he's really hot because he's wearing his superhero outfit underneath his normal clothes. And we go to the next page, and we see Mary Marvel. This is a cool panel. I thought this was actually a really nice page, but she's just there by herself and basically thinking about how things are hard, and she's wondering what's happening to herself, because ever since she took on Black Adam's powers, she has been different from her normal self, and we really saw that in her fight with Clayface, because she totally destroyed him. In fact, she says here to herself, I tore Clayface to bits. And then we see there's someone watching her through a little gem thing. And we go to the next page, and this is really cool. I thought this was pretty neat. So the current Adam, who is named Ryan Choi, yeah, Ryan Choi is taking Donna Troy and Jason Todd and one of the monitors into the nano-verse, and they are looking for the original Atom, so Ray Palmer. They have to find him to help them. And some of the dialogue's really funny. Like on this page, I actually thought it was pretty funny because they don't have a name for the monitor, so Jason Todd's just like, then I'm gonna call you Bob, and Donna Troy says Bob, and I don't know, it's this whole thing. It's really pretty funny though, so I thought that was good. The writing on this is really solid. So they come into a particular part of the nano-verse and they come out and it's like a jungle, and they're surrounded by all these little guys that are riding like insects, I think, so that's kind of cool. And go to the next page, and Piper and Trickster are climbing out of the water now, and they see a sign on the hole there, and it says Gotham City Harbor Authority, so they're like, oh man, we're in Gotham City, out of the frying pan and into the fire, because they're on the run from the Justice League, so they don't really want to be in Gotham where Batman is. But the Trickster says he knows someone that they can hold up with, and we see a billboard in the background for the Iceberg Lounge, so that's foreshadowing that they're going to go to the Penguin, I think. And go to the next page, and we're catching up with Holly Robinson and Harley Quinn, and man, it's this whole complicated thing, but basically they're at this place called the Athenian Women's Shelter, and this countdown to Final Crisis is happening at the same time as a miniseries event called Amazon's Attack. So this is all tied together with Amazon's Attack. In fact, on this page they're showing in news clips what happened in a particular issue of Amazon's Attack, which I've actually reviewed, so I'll have a link for that in the description box as well. But what happened here is Air Force One went down during the Amazon's Attack, and Wonder Girl and Supergirl and everyone are involved, and people don't know what's going on. So it's pretty intense, and there's a couple pages where they're talking about it, and then you see a whole crowd of protesters has shown up there because it's the Athenian Women's Shelter, and people know that they're connected to the Amazons. So they're all there, and they're upset and calling them murderers and stuff. And Harley Quinn, being Harley, she runs outside and starts talking to them and yelling at them and stuff and trying to convince them they weren't involved in it. And this Catwoman, her name's Holly Robinson. She's like a new Catwoman, and her backstory is actually really interesting, though. They didn't just pull her out of thin air. She's the little girl in Batman Year One who is living with the original Catwoman, so I thought that was pretty cool. Anyways, she runs out there and tells Harley to stop and brings her inside. And then we catch up a little bit with the Legion of Superheroes. There's a lot of different characters in this one issue, but some of them are going to go back to the 31st century, but right before they all leave, they all go through except for Karate Kid, and they stop and they say that Karate Kid can't go, he has to stay in the current time, and then Triplicate Girl is gonna stay behind with him, although it's just one of her selves, or she is only one and doesn't do triplicates now or something, but she's going by the name of Una. So that's the end of that issue. It says to be continued, and then we get chapter 9 of the History of the Multiverse. As you know, they've been doing this History of the Multiverse thing at the end of every issue, which I think is really cool. Particularly this one I thought was really good. It's 4 pages. They're all really drawn. It's written by Dan Jurgens. The art's amazing, and they talk about my boy Black Adam. They talk about how he marries Isis and about Isis's brother Osiris and all kinds of cool stuff. And I really like this last page where they show some of the other Earths in the multiverse. So it's really cool. You can see the Earth 2 crew, the JSA and Huntress, and you can see the Wildstorm people and the Fawcett universe and even the Crime Syndicate. And check it out, you've got on the top left the Kingdom Come universe. So that's all for now. I thought it was a really great issue. I liked it a lot. I thought the writing was really solid. It was pretty funny, and the art's really good. It's just the same thing as with all of these other issues of Countdown to Final Crisis. You really have to be up on everything to know what's going on. It jumps around so much, it's like they can't spend more than 2 pages on one character at a time. Alright, so that's all for now, and as always, thanks for watching, thanks for being a part of DC Fans United, I really appreciate it, and if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe.
End of line.